Many people ask me, is real estate still worthwhile? Should I invest in real estate? What makes sense? Is it too early? Is it too late? What does make the most sense? And let me respond to this question in this video. So let's talk about new built apartments or houses. Let's talk about existing. Let's talk about houses, and let's talk about apartments. Because now it depends what's worthwhile and what happens in the near future. So if we're talking about house prices, we are currently seeing that the prices are slightly coming down. If we're talking about apartments, especially 1 to 3 bedroom apartments, the prices are going up. Existing property will go up. And new build property, well, it's pretty expensive typically to buy. You won't expect that much appreciation probably, but it's like this, slightly going up in the future. Now, why? Well, new build apartments or new build houses are really expensive in the first place because we have higher commodity costs. So the construction company is making the money here because they build it more or less cheap, then they sell it more or less expensive. And you are buying this, you typically only buy new built apartments or houses because of peace of mind. Because otherwise, it doesn't typically make that much sense. There are obviously always exemptions. You might find a good deal for new built apartments. It's just pretty unlikely. Existing property. Why is existing property going up? Well, Germany needs 300,000 to 400,000 apartments every year new. Germany is building something around 100,000 apartments every year. And especially it's decreasing because of higher commodity costs, higher interest, so it makes less sense for construction companies to actually build new apartments or new houses. This leads to a huge price increase for existing property because we have a lower supply. So for existing property, supply goes down. Obviously, same applies to new build apartments, which is exactly the same reason why new build apartments are growing in the value. On the other side, we have more and more people to come to Germany, which is really essential because the social security system in Germany is only working if we have people from abroad supporting our economy. So we have more demand because more people are moving to Germany and are searching for specific apartments. So if we have a lower supply and a high demand, and you know the proof yourself for a high demand if you have searched for any apartment in Germany yourself in the past, you know that there is a huge demand and a low supply, which means property prices are going up. On top of that, we have obviously a pretty high inflation, which is also working on the value of the apartment, because if everything is becoming more expensive, also the value of your apartment or your house is growing. Supply, obviously this applies also to new built apartments. Why are house prices falling? Well, we also don't have that much supply, but in comparison, the demand is not that high for houses, which means the demand is more or less even. The supply is more or less even, but now the demand is decreasing or decreased in the past because of higher interest rates. What does make the huge difference here? Well, if we're talking about an apartment that you buy, 200,000. Let's do it here. So 200,000 apartments. You have 4% interest rate. If you rent that apartment out, it's fully tax deductible. So let's say 2.5% net interest rate. Still makes sense to buy apartments and to rent them out. Since many people are buying these apartments and renting them out, prices are going up, especially for these existing apartments. This obviously also applies to these apartments here. On the other side, if you buy a house, depends on the city, but we are around, let's say, 500,000 to $1 million on average. Now you live in yourself, so you don't have any tax benefits, which means you have now 4% interest here. And 4% interest, and especially compound interest on $1 million, makes a huge difference in comparison to 200,000 two-bedroom apartment, buying it, renting out. Maybe 300,000, maybe 400,000, and you rent it out. With 2.5% net interest, maybe even lower, you don't care. So still people are investing in this asset. So we have more demand. If more people want to buy an apartment to give it for rent in the future, obviously the price is growing. If you try to sell a house right now, you maybe receive just 2 offers for the price you desire. So what do you have to do to win someone to selling your house in this market environment? You have to decrease the price. In the house market, you have huge negotiation potential. Negotiation. Apartment, yeah, if you have deep knowledge, then you often find something, which gives you negotiation potential. But if this apartment, let's say 50 people want to buy this, and 2 people only want to buy this house, obviously the seller here in the future has more potential. And 1 to 3 bedroom apartments are in Germany always needed. Always. Because most of the population is living in these apartments, which means you have the biggest target audience. If you want to sell it, if you want to rent it out, it's significantly easier in comparison to having a house. So now to answer that question, is buying real estate still worthwhile? Yeah, obviously it makes sense to buy any new build apartment. It makes sense. It also makes sense to buy a house. You should negotiate pretty well, because now you have the option to negotiate well. In my opinion, best investment, just regarding the numbers, if I look at the ROI, if I look at tax benefits, everything in total, best investments are existing apartments. 1 to 3 bedroom, perfect. If you say, yeah, I'm not feeling well with existing property, or I would like to buy something for home ownership, so a new build apartment, let's say, or maybe a new build house, still makes sense, but I have to say this would be an emotional decision. It's not from the rational perspective the best financial decision, probably still better than renting, but it wouldn't be the best financial decision. This would be the best financial decision. This would be peace of mind, which is also understandable. But it's not the best financial decision. But always, if you make any financial decision, you have to distinguish between what do I want and what's the best from the financial perspective. And then you have to weigh it. And you decide if you're willing to pay more for a new build apartment, because the apartment is just more beautiful, which is totally understandable. My job is just to give you all the information, all the numbers, and you can decide what suits your situation best. We can help you in every area. And if you would like to have help financing a property, finding a property, creating a holistic real estate strategy for you, Don't hesitate, visit our website, register for a free initial consultation, and we will see if it makes sense to buy an apartment, when, or even how many apartments should you buy over the next years. Take care and possibly talk to you soon.